All right, welcome back to our daily read aloud, The Wild Robot. On the last time we read, what was going on with Bright Bill? Cadence?
He was getting mad because she wanted to see he wanted to see all the other robots that were damaged.
Yes. And why do you think Roz does not want Bright Bill to see them? Saya?
She doesn't want him to feel sad.
Yeah, because Bright Bill's still really little. So you guys know little kids. You can't just hit them with terrible news all at once, right? They're little. They can't handle all that. So Roz is thinking, you're not old enough to see that. I don't want you to feel worried about me or me falling apart into pieces like these robots, right? Emma?
Bright Bill flew away.
Yes. So Bright Bill got mad that she wouldn't take her to see the robots, and Bright Bill's gone. All right, chapter 44, The Runaway. Your son will be fine, said Loudwing. You know how they are at this age. I do not know, said Roz. Please tell me how they are at this age. Oh, right. Well, Bright Bill is growing up fast. It's only natural for adolescent goslings to be a little moody. He just needs to be alone for a while. You've raised a wonderful son. I know he'll come home soon. Try not to worry. But Roz did worry. At least she worried as much as a robot is capable of worrying. Bright Bill had never run away or flown away, and suddenly Roz was computing all the things that could go wrong. A violent storm, a broken wing, a predator. She had to find her son before something bad happened. There was only one place Bright Bill could have gone, the robot gravesite. So Roz galloped northward. She leaped over rocks and ducked under branches and charged through meadows without ever slowing her pace. She raced all the way across the island until she finally stepped onto the sea cliffs above the gravesite. And there was Bright Bill. Perched on the edge, looking at the robot parts scattered on the shore below, his eyes were wet. Don't be angry, he said as his mother walked over. I am not angry, but you should not have flown off like that. You could have gotten hurt, or worse. I was worried sick. I'm sorry, Mama. It is okay, said Roz. It is only natural for goslings your age to be a little moody. I love that she just repeated what she just heard. Mama, I need to understand what you are, and I think it might help to see those other robots. You are right. It might help. Why are you not down there? I was about to go, said Bright Bill, but I got nervous. I want you to go with me. Let us go down there, said Roz, together. Madeline?
Was she feeling as worried as a feeling?
That's what it said. She is feeling as worried as a robot is capable of feeling worried. So we're still trying to figure out how and why Roz kind of seems to have feelings. But you're right, that's complicated. All right, chapter 45, The Dead Robots. The gosling floated on the breeze beside his mother as she climbed down the cliffside. Down they went, past ledges and seagulls and tough little trees, until they were standing on the rocky shore with the cliffs looming behind them. The gravesite had changed. Roz's crate was gone, lost to weather or waves. Some of the robot parts were gone too. Other parts were gritty with sand, or were tangled in seaweed, or were inhabited by small, scuttling creatures. One smashed torso still had a head and legs attached. Roz and Bright Bill huddled around the corpse and studied the mess of tubes spilling out. This thing used to look like you, said Bright Bill. Yes, we are the same type of robot, said Roz. And now this robot is dead? In a way. Will you ever die, Mama? I think so. Will I die? All living things die eventually. The gosling's face scrunched with worry. Bright Bill, you're going to live a long and happy life. Roz laid a hand on her son's back. You should not worry about death. The gosling's face relaxed, and then he pointed to a small round shape on the back of the dead robot's head. What's that? He said. Angie?
I think I could tell. Okay, when Roz first met Loudwing, she said that duck will not have a very long life.
Without Roz, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she needed someone to take care of her. Hayden?
That I think he's pointing at the red button to turn on the robot, and maybe he presses it and it turns on the robot. Yeah.
All right, so let's think about this a minute before I read on. Does Roz know how she was turned on?
No.
Okay, let's raise our hands. Now knowing about the power button on this other robot, does anyone have predictions about what could happen later? Madeline, what do you think?
One of them could like press a button.
Okay. Hudson?
So like in the beginning of the story, it said like waves like kind of washed up and they like pieced together. So I'm guessing like either like what Madeline said, something's going to bump it, or like she'll like fall apart maybe.
Okay. Noah?
Maybe she was gonna take the parts and her computer brain could figure out how to make it, and then she could press the button and he would turn alive.
Okay, so maybe they could fix the robots. Angie?
I'm guessing maybe Brightbill will turn that on, and then when the robot wakes up, he'll turn on even more robots.
Okay. We've got 2 more predictions. Eric?
What page are we on?
We are on page 134. Emma, last question or comment.
Brightbill is gonna keep pressing the button.
Okay, let's find out. All right, so what's that, he said. Roz leaned in closer. This is a button, which is a knob on a piece of machinery that can be pressed to operate it. Brightbill began pressing the button. Click, click, click. Nothing is happening, he said. Probably because this robot is dead. Click, click, click. Mama, do you have a button? Brightbill watched as his mother's head turned all the way around and a small button came into view. You've got one, he said. I've never noticed it before. Neither did I, said the robot. The gosling giggled. Oh, Mama, you have so much to learn about yourself. Roz reached for the button on her head, but her hand automatically stopped before she could touch it. She tried with her other hand, but it automatically stopped as well. It seems I cannot press the button, she said. Would you like to try?
Oh no.
What will happen? I think that I will shut down, but I think you could simply press the button again to restart me. You think? Squawked Brightbill. What if you're wrong? What if you wake up different? What if you never wake up? Mama, I don't want to shut you down. Roz turned her head back around and saw that Brightbill's face was once again scrunched with worry. She knelt beside him and said, Of course you do not have to shut me down. I am sorry if I scared you. Are you okay? I'm okay. Brightbill sniffled and wiped his eyes, and then he heard splashing. Otters were playing in the ocean. He'd never seen otters before. They stared as they swam and dove and sloshed around with one another. They seemed to be having a ridiculous amount of fun, and suddenly the gosling was smiling again. Hello, my name is Brightbill, he shouted over the waves, and this is my mama. Her name is Roz. The last time those otters had seen Roz, they had thought she was some kind of a monster. But since then, they'd heard that she was remarkably friendly, and that she'd even adopted an orphaned gosling. And so the otters smiled at Roz and Brightbill. Then they swam straight over and splashed onto the rocks. Hello there, said the biggest otter. Nice to meet you both. Actually, Roz, we've met once before, but you might not remember me. My name's Shelley. I do remember you, said the robot, but I am glad to learn your name, Shelley. You know each other? Said the gosling. These otters were the first animals I ever met, said Roz. They were also the first animals who ever ran away from me. Yeah, sorry about that, said Shelley, as the other otter sniffed the robot's legs. You know, Brightbill, when we first saw your mama, she was packed in a box and surrounded by soft, squishy stuff. Brightbill's brow furrowed. That means like your confused face. You wouldn't believe how small she looked, all folded up in there. Brightbill's nose sniffled. We thought she was dead, but when we reached into the box, she came to life and climbed out looking like a sparkling monster. Brightbill's eyes welled up with tears, and then he felt his mother scoop him up into her arms. Are you okay? She whispered in his ear. I think I've learned enough about robots for today, he whispered back. I am sorry, Otter, said Roz, but we really must be going. I hope I didn't upset the little guy, said Shelley. I thought he'd like to hear how we first met. Brightbill will be fine, said Roz, using a friendly voice. But we have had a very busy day, and we should go home. It was nice to see you again. Goodbye. Roz turned, and with her long strides, she carried her son away from the gravesite and over to the base of the sea cliffs. "Would you like to sit on my shoulder as I climb?" said the robot. "I feel like flying," said the gosling. "I'll meet you at the top." Brightbill flapped his wings and disappeared into the sky. Roz began scaling the wall. Up she went, expertly negotiating rocky columns and ledges until she hoisted herself onto the cliff top where two young bears were waiting.
Oh.
We can read the next chapter. Cadence.
You know, Hudson, give me back my pencil. I accidentally dropped it.
Okay, she accidentally dropped her pencil. Can you hand it back? Thank you. All right, chapter 46, the fight. The fight, not flight. All right, here we go. "Hello, bears. My name is Roz." "Oh, we know who you are," said the sister bear. Her voice dripped with sarcasm. "We're very happy to see you again." "Yeah, we're very happy to see you again," echoed the brother bear. "Why do you always repeat what I say?" said the sister bear to her brother. "It's so annoying." "I was just backing you up. Let me do the talking." "Fine. You don't have to be so mean about it." The bickering bears were interrupted by the robot's friendliest voice. "With whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?" "How rude of us," said the sister bear. "My name is Nettle, and this is my little brother, Thorn." "I'm not little," snapped Thorn under his breath. "It is lovely to meet you both," said Roz, "but I am afraid I really must be going." "And I'm afraid we can't let you do that." Nettle stepped into Roz's path. "My brother and I, we don't like monsters." "Shh. I am not a monster. I am a robot." "Whatever you are, we don't like you," said Thorn. "We hear you've become very comfortable on our island," said Nettle. "Now we're going to make you very uncomfortable." "Yeah, we're going to make you very uncomfortable." "Stop repeating me, Thorn." Poor Roz was in serious trouble. The bears were closing in on her, but she couldn't run, she couldn't hide, and she couldn't fight. The robot didn't know what to do. But before she could do anything, there was a loud squawk and a streak of feathers. "Stay away from my mama!" Brightbill swooped down and skidded to a stop between the robot and the bears. "So the rumors are true," Nettle laughed. "There really is a runty gosling who thinks this robot is his mother. How could anyone be so stupid? Do yourself a favor, Gosling, and fly away before you get hurt." "She is right, Brightbill," said Roz. "Please, let me handle this." But the gosling stood his ground. He spread his wings and hopped around, ready to defend his mother. The bears roared with laughter. Then, with a flick of her paw, Nettle sent Brightbill tumbling over the ground over and over until he flopped onto his back and stared up at the sky, stunned. So a stunned bird is one that's they seem unconscious. So if you have a bird that hits your window and lays for a minute and then gets up and flies away, that was a stunned bird. "This is our island," snarled Nettle. "And it's time for you to go," growled Thorn. Roz made herself as big as possible. She banged her chest and roared wild, angry sounds. But the bears were not intimidated. They roared right back. And then they attacked. Nettle pulled Roz into a fierce bear hug while Thorn clawed at her legs. The robot tried to shake free, but the bears would not let go of their prey. Not this time. A cloud of dust ballooned around the trio as they thrashed closer to the edge of the cliff. All of a sudden, something burst out from the trees and onto the open cliff top. Mother Bear. She was gigantic, like a mountain of golden fur, and she was furious. It seemed like this would be the end for our robot. But Mother Bear wasn't there to join the fight. She was there to break it up. "Nettle! Thorn! Get over here this instant!" The young bears should have listened to their mother. Instead, they pretended not to hear her. Nettle slashed at Roz's body, and Thorn began wrestling with her foot. He grabbed the foot with both paws and forced it up from the ground. Then, with every ounce of his strength, he twisted the foot around. Reader, the following events happened very quickly. First, there was a strange thwip sound as the robot's right foot popped off her leg and sailed through the air. Then everyone toppled over. Nettle and Roz fell sideways along the edge, but Thorn fell backward and tumbled right off the cliff. Do you know what the most terrible sound in the world is? It's the howl of a mother bear as she watches her cub tumble off a cliff. Mother Bear's howl was so startling that it snapped Brightbill right out of his stupor. Her howl was so powerful that it shook Roz's entire body. Her howl was so loud the animals heard it clear across the island. But there was no reply from Thorn. Mother Bear's howl slowly faded, and she wilted to the ground. So what does that mean? Angie?
It means that, like, she wishes she could go down there and, like, she's sad.
Yeah, if you're wilting, a wilting plant is one that's dying and, like, flopped over. So if someone's wilting, they, like, can't even keep themselves up. Like when you're really sad and you're just a heap, you've wilted. Okay, Madeline?
Wait, did the other bear die?
We don't know yet. So Thorn flew off the cliff, and the mama bear is howling, and he's not responding. Abby?
Hey, we don't know yet, but you know.
Yeah, so I'm not going to tell you till we know. Shh. All right. Shh. So when you hear the word wilted, that means you're like limp and falling apart. Yes, Eric? All right, you got to keep up. Shh. 142.
142?
Shh. Roz watched as her detached foot sailed over the edge and plummeted down to the shore below. It fell past circling seagulls, smashed off a rock, and disappeared into the waves. And that's when the robot noticed something furry dangling from the cliffside. Thorn. His full weight hung from a tree that was rooted to the rock wall. He gripped the tree tightly in his jaws and looked up at Roz with wide, frightened eyes. All right, friends at home, here's our picture. Right, just look quietly. I don't show you all the pictures, but this one's a good one. So he's just hanging on for dear life. I see Thorn, shouted Roz. Grab my legs, quickly. Mother Bear and Nettle scrambled to their feet. Each bear took a leg in her mouth, and together they slowly lowered Roz head down toward the cliff. Thorn whimpered through clenched teeth as he watched the robot approach. Then he felt her strong arms wrap around him and heard her booming voice holler, "Pull us up!" Thorn let go of the branch and cried, "Please don't drop me, Roz. I don't want to die." "Do not worry," said the robot. "I will not drop you." The next few moments seemed to drag on and on. Mother Bear and Nettle kept pulling on Roz's legs, and more of the robot slowly came into view until a furry golden head finally appeared, and Thorn leaped into the embrace of his family. All right. Let me see how long this next chapter is. All right, we'll do one more. Chapter 47 is called The Parade. All right, now we know a parade is a celebration. So what do you think they might be celebrating? Emma?
They're celebrating that he did die.
Okay, could be. Zoe?
That Roz saved the little bear.
Okay. Madeline?
That Roz saved the baby bear.
Okay, let's read and find out. Does it hurt? Brightbill touched the smooth surface where his mother's foot used to be. "No, it does not hurt," said Roz, "but it is difficult for me to walk." The bears huddled behind the gosling and stared at the robot's stump of a leg. Nobody understood how a foot could pop off like that, or how Roz could remain calm. You gotta imagine, if an animal's foot popped off, it'd be a totally different story, right?
Like in past when one's leg.
Right, it's a lot different when you're a robot. "Roz, I'm sorry my cubs attacked you," said Mother Bear. "Sometimes they're completely out of control." "It is okay. You know how they are at this age." So that's another throwback, right? She likes that line. She keeps using it. "I can't thank you enough for saving Thorn. I promise my cubs will never bother you again. Isn't that right?" "Yes, Mother," said Nettle and Thorn together. The robot tried to walk. She bobbled up and down on her uneven legs, which worked well enough on flat surfaces of the cliff top. But once she entered the forest, her problem became clear. The smooth stump had no grip, and it slipped around on the forest floor. So Roz tried hopping on her one good foot. She took a few crunching hops and then clanged into a tree trunk. A few more hops and she crashed into some undergrowth. "I'm really sorry I broke your foot," said Thorn, as he helped the robot up from the weeds. "I forgive you," said Roz. Whether she was capable of true forgiveness is anybody's guess, but they were nice words, and Thorn felt better when he heard them. "It looks like I will have to crawl home," said Roz. "Nonsense," said Mother Bear. "I have a better idea." Mother Bear lay flat on the ground while her cubs boosted Roz onto her back. Then Brightbill fluttered onto the bear's broad shoulders, and when they were both safely aboard, the group set off through the forest. The robot was heavy, but she was no trouble for the giant animal. Mother Bear strolled along as if it were perfectly normal for a robot to be riding on her back. They made quite a grand procession, all walking together like that. And the procession became even grander as deer and raccoons and birds and all kinds of other animals joined in. Everyone wanted to see the mother robot riding the mother bear. The group wound its way through ancient trees and over rolling meadows and through babbling streams, collecting more and more curious animals as they went. It was the grandest parade of wildlife anyone had ever seen, and leading the way was our robot, Roz. But the parade couldn't last forever. As the sun went down, the other animals began drifting away, one by one. And when the parade finally arrived at the nest, only the original members remained. "Here we are," said Mother Bear, helping Roz down into the garden. Now, wasn't that better than crawling all the way home? "Oh, yes, that was wonderful," said the robot. "I cannot imagine a better ending to this day. Thank you very much." "Yeah, it was amazing," squeaked the gosling. "My friends won't believe me when I tell them I rode across the island on the back of a bear." "I'm glad you enjoyed yourselves," Mother Bear smiled. "It's the least I could do, after all the trouble these two caused." Her smile became a frown, and she glared at her cubs, who suddenly took great interest in a pebble on the ground. You know, when you're getting yelled at and you just look down and I can pay attention to something different?
Yeah.
It was late, and it had been a long, difficult day for everyone. So the bears said goodbye and headed back to their cave. Bright Bill and Roz stood in the garden and watched their new friends lumber away. And then the gosling said, "Mama, do you think you'll ever walk again?" "I am not sure," said the robot, "but I know who to ask for help. Now, go get ready for bed." All right, and we will stop there. I'll see you guys next time.